First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
New information tonight as a South Florida community continues to mourn what the FBI knew about the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas school shooter and when. Good evening, I'm Daniela Garrido.
And I'm Jordan McCool. The FBI received a tip on January 5th from a person close to accused killer Nicholas Cruz. The person reported concerns about Cruz, including information about his guns and the desire to kill people. The FBI admits investigators failed to follow proper protocol and investigate. FBI Director Christopher Wray says in the statement, it's up to all Americans to be vigilant, and when members of the public contact us with concerns, we must act properly and quickly. We have spoken with victims and families and deeply regret the additional pain this causes all those affected by this horrific tragedy.
Also new tonight, the Sun-Sentinel is reporting the building where Wednesday's shooting took place will be torn down.
That is where most of the victims died. From teachers and administrators to students, WUFT's David Jones is in the studio to show us how these people will leave a lasting impact.
Well, over the past few days, we've talked a lot about the shooting. We've talked about the shooter, his actions, and the reactions from a devastated community. 17 lives were lost Wednesday in a place where people are supposed to feel safe. These are the victims.
I think our town has been in shock.
This tragedy should never happen again.
Carmen Centrup, Meadow Pollock, Peter Wang.
Carmen Centrup was 16, a standout student and a National Merit Scholarship semifinalist. Meadow Pollock, 18, preparing to start at Lynn University in Boca Raton this fall. Peter Wang, 15, JROTC. His cousin says Peter held a door open so others could escape.
Nicholas Dort,
17 years old, a senior with an academic scholarship and a spot on the swim team waiting at the University of Indianapolis.
Mr. Christopher Hickson,
49, the wrestling coach and athletic director. He leaves behind a wife and a son with special needs.
Mr. Aaron Feiss.
Coach Feiss has always been so nice and caring towards me. Every morning when I walk into school, he's there for me to say good morning to.
The 37-year-old football coach died shielding students.
Luke Oyer, Elena Petty,
15 and 14. Luke, an NBA fan. Elena, vibrant and determined, according to her family.
Jamie Guttenberg,
14.
Martin Duque,
14.
Alyssa Al-Hadef,
14, a soccer player. Her mom speaking out.
This is not fair to our families, that our children go to school and have to get killed!
Mr. Scott Beagle,
35, a geography teacher and cross-country coach. He opened a door to shelter students.
He opened the door for me, and the second I looked back to see if he was in, he was on the floor.
Helena Ramsey,
17.
Joaquin Oliver,
17.
Kara Logren,
14.
Gina Montalto,
14, a member of the school marching band's Winter Guard.
and Alexander Schachter.
14, played trombone in the marching band. We're also learning more about plans to honor the 17 victims. Broward County Superintendent says a memorial will be built on the school's campus.
While officials are ironing out the details of a permanent memorial, many Floridians continue to remember those killed. From Parkland all the way to North Central Florida, many communities are paying tribute. WUFT's Grace King attended 2 Gainesville vigils earlier and joins us live from the newsroom.
Jordan, it was an emotional day for many as multiple vigils were held in honor of those lives lost in the Parkland shooting. More than 200 former Douglas students attend the University of Florida, and I spoke with one of those who is still struggling to make sense of the tragedy.
Somebody to lean on.
I don't want to believe it, but as each day goes on, it becomes more and more real.
It's been a worst fear of mine for a long time, so it's been hard to process.
It breaks my heart because my fellow Gators are hurting.
2 days after the shooting at a Parkland high school, UF students are still trying to process their emotions.
It's unbelievable, like in the literal sense.
Multiple vigils are being held today. many of them led by former students of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
I don't think I would be where I am today if I hadn't had my start there.
David Rojas graduated from Douglas 4 years ago and fondly recalls his time in the band. Now he knows it'll never be the same.
My love goes out to my AP Lit teacher. She was there when all this went down. I just hope that, wherever she is right now, that she has the strength to go on.
Fenzia Gourier, another former student, says that strength can be found in love.
Showing love to someone is an active choice. So the same way that person chose to do evil, we have a choice too, and we get to choose love.
Even with love, Rojas feels the process will be difficult.
And it's going to take time. But we will move on. And when we do, we will be a force to be reckoned with. And we will ensure that change finally happens in this country.
Together, Rojas added, they can rise up.
And to help with that healing process, Rojas is holding a vigil tonight at 8 p.m. in Turlington Plaza. But if you can't make that one, there's a handful of others planned as well, including the City of Gainesville's tomorrow at 7 p.m. and the University of Florida's Wednesday at 7 p.m. For now, reporting live in the newsroom, Grace King, WUFT News.
Thank you, Grace. Here in North Central Florida, schools are receiving copycat threats following Wednesday's events. A 15-year-old is facing a second-degree felony after making a threatening social media post about Palatka High School. A 17-year-old Lake Weir High School student is also facing charges for making threats. Increased law enforcement presence was at the school in Marion County, and Gilchrist County closed all schools as a safety precaution following a threat that they received last night.
Breaking today, the special counsel will try to convict Russians of going beyond the usual election propaganda to something criminal. 13 indictments were announced today. NBC's Blaine Alexander has a story from Washington.
A Washington grand jury has indicted 13 Russians in a wide-ranging conspiracy to interfere in the 2016 election.
The defendants allegedly conducted what they called information warfare against the United States, with the stated goal of spreading distrust towards the candidates and the political system.
These are the first indictments tied directly to election meddling to come from special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. The 13 Russians allegedly worked to discredit Hillary Clinton's campaign and boost Donald Trump. They also used Muslims and the Black Lives Matter movement to divide Americans both before and after Trump won the election.
For example, the defendants organized one rally to support the president-elect and another rally to oppose him, both in New York on the same day.
Some of the defendants traveled to America to create fake IDs, also using social media accounts, buying ads, and working with unwitting Americans, including campaign associates.
No allegation in this indictment that any American had any knowledge. And the nature of the scheme was that the defendants took extraordinary steps to make it appear that they were ordinary American political activists.
President Trump declared in a tweet that his campaign did nothing wrong, no collusion. Officials say the Russian efforts are still ongoing.
We must not allow them to succeed.
An ominous warning ahead of this year's midterm elections. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
The indictment says they smeared several candidates early on, including Trump and Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio. Later on, the strategy shifted to suppressing black turnout, pretending that activists were sick of both Trump and Clinton and would rather sit out the election than vote for either of them.
And the Gators baseball game of the first Gators baseball game of the season is tonight.
And we hear that the weather is going to be perfect for the game. WUFT's Lee Southwick joins us now live from McKeithen Stadium. Lee?
It's a beautiful game, a beautiful day for a baseball game. The skies are blue, temperatures are in the 70s, and there's a bit of a breeze that's making it feel so comfortable. We'll start with a live look over the University of Florida. You can see those blue skies. Clouds have mainly disappeared right now. Temperatures by the first pitch are going to be right near 71 degrees. And then moving on into the seventh inning, temperature is right near 67, so it'll be comfortable. You may want to grab a light jacket for the game if you're like me, a Floridian, and might cool down a bit in the 60s, but overall, very comfortable. Now, there is some fog that's possible early tomorrow morning, so hopefully not many of you have to wake up early for your Saturday morning, but we'll bring you more details on that fog. Brian Bojana will be joining me in my full weather update coming up. Back to you.
Thanks, Lee. The Gainesville City Commission wants Grace Marketplace to continue operating under current management. That's a decision that came out of last night's City Commission meeting. As WUFT's Henry Coburn explains, the city decided between a new contract with Grace Marketplace Foundation and a contract renewal with the Alachua County Coalition for the Homeless and Hungry.
Grace Marketplace's future hanging in the balance. Some want change in management.
I would like to see the personnel provided by the Grace Foundation manage the operation.
Others worry that a change in management would affect current programs.
My worst case scenario is that the veterans dorm basically gets shut down, or that their living conditions become less.
City commissioners chose between a cheaper new authority, the Grace Marketplace Foundation, and the existing manager, the Alachua County Coalition for the Homeless and the Hungry, or the ACCHH. They chose to go with the known entity they've worked with before.
They looked at some issues that relates to the financing, what's in the information, and they best in their best interest that ACC would be the best organization to continue to provide those services.
The city has weighed in, but Alachua County commissioners must also vote on the matter. Regardless of the outcome, Gainesville residents think the ACCHH and the Grace Marketplace Foundation should continue working together.
Some of the comments came out is that these two organizations should work hand in hand. Both have good assets. There are some positives on both, positive and negative on both sides.
Henry Coburn, WUFT News.
The county is slated to take its vote on Monday.
So just in 2017, we worked with over 300 women in our local community.
Sex trafficking in Gainesville coming up, how law enforcement and local nonprofit work together to offer security and other help to victims.
Dry pattern. Coming up, I'll tell you how long this will continue and when we could even see a couple showers in our forecast.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
The Human Trafficking Hotline says Florida has the third highest number of reported cases in the U.S.
Through various setups for prostitution, sex trafficking impacts a small city like Gainesville on a larger scale than you might expect. WUFT's Mary Grace Scully spoke with a nonprofit in Gainesville that tries to reach and restore the women involved.
The women might be manipulated or even abused, kidnapped and forced to work. I spoke to the founder of a local group trying to provide a safe place for women so they can't return to the cycle of abuse.
This is an issue in Gainesville more than people think.
Hidden from view, sex trafficking affects hundreds of women here annually.
Just in 2017, we worked with over 300 women in our local community, and hands down, the #1 need that was shared with us is a safe place to go to begin healing.
6 years ago, Allison Ungaro founded a nonprofit group, Created Gainesville, to minister to women escaping from sex trafficking.
So we go out onto the streets, we go into a local strip club, we go into the jail. We also go into treatment centers and just provide love, support, and really hear a woman. What does she need to be able to change her life?
And restoration starts right here by providing something as simple as a safe place to relax during what might have been one of the most difficult times of their lives.
Created works closely with law enforcement.
We want to see those who are truly victimized as a function of human trafficking. We want to see them supported, we want to see them emotionally stable, and we want their partnership so that we can hold those predators responsible.
Created also has weekly classes at the Alachua County Jail to help women make a plan for their release.
What we want to do is provide women the opportunities to build their resume, to gain experience, to grow in their educational skill set, and just to be able to leave our program saying, yes, that's part of my past, but this is what I've done since then.
But before Created can help, the team must first earn trust.
Whether it's one conversation or whether it's 5 years of meeting the same woman on the streets, however long it takes, that we continue just to show her that we're trustworthy.
Created Gainesville is planning a multi-phase residential program. A recently donated home is a start, but they're raising funds for renovations and other needs. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, check out their website at createdgainesville.com. Mary Grace Scully, WUFT News.
Thank you, Mary Grace. The Me Too campaign is still a force in Hollywood news.
WUFT's Isa Perez will fill us in on the latest case, plus some fun stuff to consider this weekend.
If you have a vegan friend who's always talking about their diet, you might want to check this event out. The second annual Veg Fest Festival takes place tomorrow at Depot Park. The entire event is dedicated to eating in a healthy, sustainable, and compassionate way. You can sample vegan food, enjoy live music from local bands, and even learn how to make your own vegan meals at home. VegFest media coordinator Juan Zapata says he hopes the festival clears up misconceptions about plant-based diets.
We just hope to really show and contradict all those stereotypes and be like, this is everything that we can do while all being plant-based and being socially responsible.
There will be plenty of food vendors and informational breakout sessions to learn more about the vegan lifestyle. It starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow and goes until 5 p.m. Actor Jeffrey Tambor confirms that he will not return for the next season of this critically acclaimed Amazon Studios show, Transparent. His future on the show was up in the air after former assistant Van Barnes and Transparent actress Trace Lysette accused him of sexual misconduct in November. Tambor denies the claims. Amazon Studio launched an investigation which Tambor blames for driving him to quit. He calls the probe deeply flawed and says it was biased towards a toxic, politicized atmosphere that affected our set. The 73-year-old actor has held the lead role in the series since it debuted in 2014. Marvel Comics has been the inspiration for several movie superheroes in the last decade, including Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. Now there's a new hero coming to a screen near you, based on the first Black comic book character. Raphael Seth has this week's box office preview.
My son, it is your time.
Chadwick Boseman changes his stripes in Black Panther. The actor known for playing Jackie Robinson and James Brown now steps into comic book legend. This standalone film features the young prince returning home to Wakanda after the death of his father, but Creed star Michael B. Jordan wants to prevent the undercover hero from assuming the throne. Black Panther is rated PG-13.
The Age of Stone is over!
Cavemen aspire to win bronze in Early Man. This Aardman animation tells the tale of a Stone Age family stuck in the past, but they'll need to adapt to newfangled Bronze Age ways to save their home, which starts with a winner-take-all soccer match. Early Man is rated PG.
There are whispers of a Hebrew with great strength.
If he's got hair, he doesn't have a care in Samson. This retelling of the Bible story features newcomer Taylor James as the muscle-bound shampoo model, but when he's double-crossed by Delilah and blinded by his enemies, he'll need strength from a higher power to bring down the Philistines. Samson is rated PG-13.
If you really want to run this country, you will have to do something about your hair.
With friends like these, who needs enemies in the party? Kristen Scott Thomas is throwing a soiree to celebrate a political victory, but during the proceedings, her husband announces he's leaving the marriage due to a relationship with someone else in the room. The party is in limited release. That's the box office preview. Raphael Seth, NBC News.
Earlier, Lee gave us a look at the nice weather for tonight's game.
She joined us again live from the baseball stadium. Lee, how's it feeling out there?
The weather couldn't be more beautiful for a baseball game. It is sunny, the skies are blue, there's a bit of a breeze with temperatures in the 70s. It's perfect baseball weather. We'll take a look at our sky cam, campus camera, and you can see those beautiful blue skies. And at 6:30, we're going to see those temperatures right near 71. That's right at first pitch. And there is some fog possible tonight. And I'm going to pass it over to Brian Boggiano in the weather studio. He has more on that for you. Brian?
Back in the track, it's just like that. Patchy dense fog is possible going to Saturday morning, especially near Gainesville, Lake City, and Ocala. Most places before 9 a.m., dense fog is likely. So if you are on the road early, make sure you give yourself a few extra minutes to get to where you need to go to. There is dense fog likely, and that will likely reduce visibility, especially early on. Saturday afternoon, though, we are on the warm side. 81 degrees in Gainesville, 80 in Ocala, 79 degrees in Lake City. We are going to see partly cloudy to mostly clear skies for most places, but the warm temperatures are on. We will see those highs in the 80s, and that's going to be the story for the next few days. We are going to see those highs in the low 80s. That's going to be for the rest of the weekend and even into next week. Now, we are going to be dry during this time, but we could see a couple showers on Tuesday. I'm going to show you why we're going to see that in just a moment. We do have more games, though, besides the game tonight. We do have Tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock, 80 degrees, mostly sunny and warm for that. For Sunday, 81 degrees, partly cloudy and warm once again. But the warmth, that's going to be the pattern at least for the next 6 days. I'm going to show you why. High pressure is just to our east, and with that, we're seeing this really strong flow of warmer air and moisture is coming in. So with that, we will obviously be on the warm side. We will see a little moisture coming in, so as a result, a few showers are possible. But this is a very strong high pressure system, and it will make it feel like it's a lot warmer than it should be for this time of year. But taking a look at the next 6 days, the main theme is highs will be in the 80s. Lows are going to be in the 60s starting on Tuesday. 30% chance of rain by then. Besides that, though, the rest of the week is looking dry. Saturday and Sunday, though, dense fog is likely early in the morning. Back to you.
Thank you, Brian. Gator baseball is finally back in action tonight.
WUFT sports anchor Ingrid Ochoa has more on opening weekend festivities here in Gainesville.
Yeah, the Gator baseball team is actually back home tonight to take on, since winning the College World Series last year, and taking a look at the McKeithen Stadium as fans are starting to file in for the game. It's finally here. The Gator baseball team is opening their 2018 season today. Welcome back to sports. I'm Ingrid Ochoa. We are joined by baseball beat reporter Jordan Reed at the McKeithen Stadium.
Yeah, they opened the gates here at McKeithen about an hour ago, but before the game gets underway, there are several activities and events for fans to go out and check out and enjoy. These include the first 500 get a replica of the National Championship Trophy. Also, fans can get a look at the National Championship Trophy, which will be on display on the concourse by Sports Shop. And at 6:09, there will be a National Championship recognition on the field by the third base dugout, all of which leads to the ceremonial first pitch, which will be thrown out by former Gator Alex Faedo. And speaking of pitching, taking the mound tonight for the Gators is junior righty Bree Singer. Last season, Singer joined the weekend rotation and led the team with 126 innings, pitched in 20 appearances, 19 of which were starts. He had a record of 9-5 and recorded a 3.21 ERA. In an interview yesterday, Singer reflected on his preparation going into tonight's season opener.
Obviously pitching, throwing and preparing and getting everything dialed in. So tomorrow I'm just excited to, go out there and let it all go.
Tonight's game starts at 6:30, tomorrow is at 4, and Sunday is at 1. Back to you, Ingrid.
Thank you, Jordan. The Gator men's basketball team is coming off an overtime loss to Georgia this week. Tomorrow, the Gators will take on another SEC opponent as they travel to Nashville to take on Vanderbilt, who is 10-5 at home this season. With just 5 regular season games left, head coach Mike White says that his team has started to look forward to postseason.
99% of tomorrow will come down to the execution, both offensively and defensively, by us and by Vanderbilt. But the big picture stuff has been put out there for the first time.
Tip-off for tomorrow's game is at 4 with coverage on ESPN2. After opening their season at home on Wednesday, the Gator softball team is back on the road this weekend to take on Louisiana. The Gators currently remain at number 2 by ESPN.com/USA softball poll after 6-0 opening weekend. Kelly Barnhill had their first no-hitter of the season on Wednesday when they defeated North Florida 9-0, making it her third no-hitter of her career. Barnhill had 12 strikeouts on 55 pitches. Florida is scheduled to play the Raging Cajuns in a doubleheader on Saturday and a single game on Sunday. The number 5 Gator Gymnastics is on the road today to take on the number 14 Georgia Bulldogs. The Gators are coming off a win against Alabama last Friday. Kennedy Baker ended the competition by earning her third career 10 on floor. Baker was named SEC Specialist Gymnast of the Week. Meanwhile, Alyssa Baumann, who posted a 9.925 on beam and floor, was named Freshman of the Week. The meet will begin tonight at 7 on SEC Network. The Florida lacrosse team will host a top 5 game this weekend as number 1 Maryland travels to Gainesville to take on the Gators on Saturday at noon. The Gators opened up their season last week when they hosted Colorado and won 16-9. The Gators will feature the 4th meeting between the Gators and the Terrapins. Maryland enters Saturday's matchup on a 24-game winning streak. They have also claimed 3 of the last 4 NCAA championships. Lots of action tonight for local boys high school basketball. With district finals, Gainesville will host Columbia tonight at 7. North Marion takes on Herman Williams and his Eastside Rams at 7. The Rams are 21-5 overall. PK Young will face off Tallahassee McClay at 7:30. Hilliard hosts Greg Bowie's Hawthorne Hornets at 7. And the Bradford Tornadoes will host the Newberry Panthers at 7. And with district boys semifinals, St. Francis will host Christ Church Academy. And on with girls basketball, congrats to Eastside, Newberry, Hawthorne, Trenton, Gainesville, and PK Young for winning regional competitions. They will play on Tuesday.
Thank you, Ingrid. Before we go, one last check on the weather.
If you are heading out to the game tonight, temperatures will be in the low 70s with partly cloudy skies. Now for tonight, though, we are going to see patchy fog starting developing, coming dense, though, as we get to early Saturday morning. So Gainesville, Lake City, and Ocala, dense fog is likely there. For the next 6 days, though, highs will be in the 80s, lows will be in the 60s. Some showers, though, are possible on Tuesday. Back to you.
Thanks, Brian. Our Spanish headlines are coming up just before 6, right between global newscasts from England and Germany. We'll have an English update just before the PBS NewsHour at 7.
Our news team will bring you another show Monday at 5 o'clock, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.